All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've gone back and looked at some of the videos that I have produced, and I feel like I need to apologize. If you can only see the microphone that I'm using, that's why I believe it sounds like I'm eating the microphone. So I'll try to do a better job of keeping the microphone far away so that you don't get that muffle, but I'll probably not succeed. Anyway, um, continuing where we left off, I told you I was going to add a couple more records, which if I open up my table, you can see I have four records. Some of you have asked me questions about if it matters the ID. It goes one, two, four, five. It doesn't matter as long as they are different, okay, and serve as the primary key, which means they do not repeat. It serves its purpose. So that does not matter. What does matter is that you spell everything within your database correctly. If you don't, when we go ahead and query, um, you're not going to get the correct results. So I'm just going to go ahead and resize my columns here. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do on your final exam, you're going to have to create labels and a table style report. So, for example, if I want to create mailing labels for only Peyton Manning and let's say Susan Miller, okay, the first thing I need to do is query so that these are the only two records that I see. So I'm going to close my table, and just like we've done in the past with all queries, make sure that the table that you want to include is selected once. We're going to go create, query design, add, close, and resize. Now, if we're doing mailing labels, you need to include specific fields. And for this mailing label, we're going to include title, first name, and I'm just double clicking, last name, address, city, state, and zip. If I want to include only Susan and Peyton, what I did there was I went under first name to the criteria, and I'm going to type in Susan, and underneath Susan, I'm going to also type in Peyton. So that means I'm looking for people with the first name of only Susan and Peyton. If this were a larger database, we could not sort this way, but since we do not have any duplicates of the first name, we're going to go ahead and run, which is up here in our pane up top. And if you do it correctly, you should see that you have the two records that we want to include for our mailing labels. So now it's time to save. So we're going to close our door. Yes, we would like to save this. And I'm going to name this query for, we'll do mailing labels. Okay. So I'm going to say okay. And again, if you look at our hallway, now we have three doors. I'm not going to open my query door. What I'm going to do is just make sure that query is selected because that's the information I want to include for my mailing labels. So what I need to do now is, again, we're going to create, and labels is under reports. We don't want to do a report wizard. We want to do a label. So if I click on label, um, I already set this to product number 5160, and it's filtered by manufacturer Avery. When you go out and buy mailing labels, it will specify the product number and manufacturer. But for the purpose of this class, we'll just keep Avery and make sure you click 5160. From there, we're going to go next. And I'm not going to change any of the font name or font weight, text color, or size. I'm going to keep as is. And now we get to a very important part of creating our labels. This is where we go ahead and set up the structure of our label. So on the top line, I want to include the title, so like Mr. or Ms. It's important to include your spacing, so space. We're going to need first name and last name. I'm now going to push enter to go to the next line. And on the second line, we only want to include address. So double click address and enter. Now I want city, comma, space, state, space, and zip code. So this is the structure that I want you to use for your final exam. So I'm going to go next. And if I asked you to sort by a specific way, let's say I want you to sort by last name, you can do that. And then what name would you like for your report? Labels, let's just say last name. And let's see how they look like if they were to be printed right now. Don't worry about this dialog box. We're going to fix this later. We're going to click OK. And right now, these look pretty good. You have the structure correct. The only thing you're going to have to do is on your final exam, you're going to have to add an image or a logo that is situated kind of right where I'm pointing right now. You can't do that in print preview mode. So I'm going to have to close print preview. And by default, you're in design view, and that's good. This is the view that we need to be in when we put in our picture. Now, it is important to see that there are 3 different sections, okay, for this label: the page header, detail, and page footer. The actual label includes the grayed area or the gray dots surrounding these text boxes. So it's important. You don't want this to be way out here because your label is going to be huge and it's going to cut off all your other labels. So by default, it's pretty trimmed. It looks pretty good. However, when we insert a logo, if we go up top and logo, and I'm just going to use a picture that's already on my, I have some pictures already saved. I'll use Jabari Parker here. Again, by default, it's going to go into my report header. That's not where I want it. Because if I go to my print preview, okay, I don't want it here. I would like this picture to be here. And notice that my second label is cut off because how the area with the dots expanded. So you can see that the expansion of the dots because of the picture being added. So what we need to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste this into the area that I want it to be in. Then I can delete this one up top. I can minimize this footer and header. And now I'm going to take this area here to the right and bring it back in so that the label is not too big. It looks like the picture is going to cover up some of the text, but you just got to look at print preview to see if that's going to be the case. So if I go to print preview, this is perfect. Okay, usually these will be stickers when you print them out, and you can just peel it off. You'll have the picture on the right, you'll have your information on the left, and you'll be able to peel it off and stick it right on your envelope. So for this class and for your final exam, I'm also going to want you to include a header. So I'm going to want you to have your name in the header. So what I want you to do is up top where it says header footer, I want to go to title. Okay. And labels Monaco is fine. The only thing I need to see is that you have your last name in your header. So again, I'm going to minimize the page header. All I needed was the report header. And notice again, I can't resize because there's too much going on up in the report header. So if I click individual aspects and delete these, I can now take my header, minimize that field size, so now I can drag that area in. And now if I go to print preview, I have labels Monaco, I have my labels, and I'd now be ready to print, which is this is how you would print for your final exam. I don't want a print screen. I want you to print right here from Access. So print, find your assigned printer, and print it that way. So that is it for creating labels. As I see my time is approaching to end, so I'm going to stop now, and I will pick up and do a table style report next time.